Hey folks, this is Accountability Media. I wanted to give an update on the outcome of the April 2019 visit I paid to MPD's 2nd District headquarters, where I was legally detained, searched, and my property temporarily seized by Captain Edward Bernat and Sergeant Jeffrey Tolliver. After the visit, I filed a complaint with the Office of Police Complaints, an independent civilian agency that reviews MPD conduct in DC. As a result of their investigation, they upheld all 3 of my complaint allegations against Captain Bernat: harassment on the basis of the stop, otherwise known as being detained, harassment on the basis of the search, and harassment on the basis of the move-along order. OPC declined to investigate the allegations against Sergeant Jeffrey Tolliver on the basis that he was separated from MPD on April 30, 2019. It is unclear who initiated this separation and whether it was in any way related to my complaint. Bernat claimed that he stopped me based on probable cause for arrest for blocking passage, failure to obey, and unlawful entry. The OPC report determined that there was no probable cause or reasonable suspicion for any of these to justify a stop. OPC stated, alleging that the stop was based on laws subject officer should know were not applicable can only be construed as subject officer intentionally violating complainant's rights under the law and MPD policy. In response to my complaint concerning the search, Bernat stated during the OPC interview both that his actions taking my wallet from my pocket and my ID from my wallet don't constitute a search, and that under Terry, meaning Terry v. Ohio, government interest requires the subject to provide ID. Obviously, the OPC report and the most basic knowledge of law find both of these claims false. Bernat's attorney even tried to assert that Bernat was not stating that his actions did not constitute a search, except the OPC report points out that is exactly what Bernat said. Bernat then said that he could have arrested me, making the search a search incident to arrest, which is a lawful reason for a search. The problem with this, as OPC points out, is that fortunately for him and MPD, as he didn't have probable cause, he did not arrest me, and the search incident to arrest must be conducted after the arrest takes place. OPC stated, Bernat's statements, however, created a situation in which he either did know and intentionally violated law and MPD policy, or he was genuinely ignorant of the laws and policies around a basic part of policing, and his act was reckless. OPC also notes that it's troubling from a credibility perspective that Captain Bernat twice requested that other officers turn off their body cameras before continuing their discussion about me, thereby attempting to shelter their discussion from further review. I want to thank OPC for the effort they put into their investigation and report. It appears to be succinct and comes to the right conclusions in my view. It is a shame that more police departments don't have an independent civilian office to conduct such investigations. I also want to note that not everybody has the time or patience to go through the process I went through to have this type of conduct investigated. I also want to note that due to issues of systemic racism and inequality for some belonging to communities that are disproportionately affected by police abuse, it is more difficult or impossible to find justice in these types of cases. After OPC made their report, MPD's Internal Affairs Division received and reviewed it. They then made a determination that Bernat would receive adverse action, which may consist of suspension, reduction in grade or pay, or termination. After this, Internal Affairs notified me that Captain Bernat decided to retire effective October 31st, 2020, and therefore no further action was needed. I also made a claim for damages with the DC government, which is a prerequisite to filing a lawsuit against an agency under DC law. While the office responsible for these claims initially found DC to be not responsible, after the OPC determination they made a small settlement offer. I rejected their initial offer and accepted an improved offer after some negotiation. I've donated a portion of the settlement to the National ACLU as well as local charities. Before filing my complaint with OPC, I reached out to Captain Bernat's direct supervisor, 2nd District Commander Duncan Bedlion. He refused to take my complaint or provide comment for the piece, citing the ongoing criminal investigation of which I am the target. When I reached back out to him this March, after the OPC and IA investigations were completed, Bernat and Tolliver were both no longer employed by MPD. The civil complaint was settled, and the district attorney's office had refused to provide an arrest warrant. He simply referred back to his email from 2 years ago, which was no longer relevant. This leads me to believe he either wasn't aware and didn't take the time to update himself on the status of the investigation, or he's purposefully dodging questions regarding the conduct of himself and current and former members of his district. I also mentioned to him feedback from viewers commenting on my original video that they were treated rudely, dismissively, directly insulted, and often hung up on when they attempted to contact the district via non-emergency channels to petition for redress concerning the incident and his district's apparent policy of attempting to obstruct their exercise of this right, guaranteed under the First Amendment of the Constitution. You may reach out to Commander Duncan Bedlion's office line at 202-730-1901 to make complaints concerning his refusal to take responsibility for the actions of his district. If you choose to do this and receive any adverse reaction from 2nd District employees, please let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching.